squirrels, and rabbits. This is my first ever YouTube live stream on planet Earth. Like, what?
Congratulations.
And such a great person to be doing it with. Like, Hannah, I have to say, I think you are effing awesome. And I've only met you recently, but I just love your vibe. I love what you do. I love how similar we are in such interesting ways. And first of all, thank you for coming and joining the Coach Cafe, which is this wonderful interview series that I've started where I talk to coaches such as yourself, wonderful people who are out there helping people in ways that weren't really a thing like a couple of decades ago, never mind a few years ago. You know, coaches meant usually something someone on the sports field. Sometimes people would get business coaches a bit later on, right, in the early 2000s. But now we're talking like Coach Central. It's like which flavor you want and what size.
Yeah, for sure. Which is why the Coach Cafe exists, I take it.
Absolutely, because we want people to just come in, meet cool people like yourself, listen to some honest, open conversations, laid back vibes about what coaching is like for you, what kind of coaching you do, and we'll just jump straight in. So what I'd love to do is
Yeah.
just say, welcome, Hannah Bowers, beaming in from Northern California. And what I love about this is you're in a place called Santa Cruz in the mountains of Santa Cruz, and I'm in Santa Cruz, like Spain, Tenerife. Like that's the name of the island, like the
And I did
capital, Santa
that.
Cruz.
That is so serendipitous.
I know, right?
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, cheers to Santa Cruz. So, my question for you is: do you have a cafe drink? What's your go-to?
I drank it all while we were getting set up.
Yes.
But representing the town of Santa Cruz is my
Mm-hmm.
company. My drink of choice is coffee.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I finished it already. But yeah, I love me just a straight black cup of coffee, no sugar, no milk. Just love the taste
Mm-hmm.
of
Brilliant, nice. So you're a coffee person, like you like bring it as it comes. Fantastic. You know, growing up in Zimbabwe, we used to have a coffee plant. Like it was the weirdest thing because it was like a little bush and then it had some beans on it. And we had like bananas and we had apples and we were really spoiled. We were like living the dream, you know, it was in the city as
it.
well, in the suburbs. So it's just funny how you just brought a home like childhood memory randomly, which is weird because I hear
That's
coffee every
cool.
day, but today that came. So that's pretty
I love
awesome.
that.
So
That's
yeah, I know.
special.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
how we bring things out of people and each other. So I want to just welcome the viewers who have started joining in. We've got someone who's already saying hi. Thank you for joining us. You are literally the first viewer on my first ever YouTube, and that is exciting. And already a couple of people have joined. So let's bring this party home, people.
Yeah.
So
Let's chat it
we have, yeah, we've got Hannah and we're talking coaching today. So, Hannah, would you tell us what kind of coaching you do?
Yeah. I do holistic life coaching for creative people. And
Hmm.
what that looks like in practice is I help creatives grow in their personal lives and professional lives to create the kind of artist dream life that they want for themselves, but might have some either limiting beliefs holding them back from or things practical like time management, energy management,
Mm.
um, organization structure stuff. So it's really
Hmm.
fun because all of my conversations look very different from one
Hmm.
another. The holistic piece, meaning we talk about every single part of your life and how if you want to live your purpose, it's all got to be aligned. You know,
Yeah.
you've got to be firing on all cylinders to make that come true. So every session looks very different. For example, I had a session this morning with someone who is an entrepreneur, and we were clarifying their business model. It's like so straight up business. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Then you look at a conversation that I had just the other day, and we're talking about how getting to the root of this limiting belief that's coming up in a with a music producer for an artist that
Hmm.
they're working with,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, I just keep hitting this obstacle with this person," and I'm like,
Hmm.
one, that sucks. I'm sorry, but let's look at that closely and see, like,
Yeah.
why is that so frustrating for you? And maybe there's an opportunity there to have a deeper realization or a deeper reflection and
Right.
really identify some deep core, childhood emotional wound. So you have
Hmm. Hmm.
business model conversations, and then you have the emotional conversations. I can ramble on about this all day, but just to answer your question,
I
holistic.
love that. Yeah. See, and that's why I know, we really hit it off when we chatted because that's what gets me going too. It's like I joke about how I'm kind of like a Swiss Army knife. I'm like sometimes where people need a screwdriver, other times it's a clipper, sometimes, and it's like the best thing to be able to have a human being in front of you, and they may all do something very similar in terms of the people you help, but they're all at different places and they need different tools. And it's like, oh man,
Yeah,
I need a screwdriver for this particular. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's how. Oh wow, that was that easy. Okay, great. And then we can move to the next thing, which can be back to the music or so on and so forth. So I would love to know, with that kind of variety in what you do, like what brought you into coaching in the first place? Like, why did you
yeah.
ever find yourself on this path?
That's a really good question. I was grabbed into it and thrown into it without knowing what it was or that it was even an option at all. Uh,
Hmm.
I went to school to study music business. I was making albums. Like, I was so music industry lane focused
Hmm.
professionally. Like, okay, I'll be an artist or a songwriter or work in the music industry. And somewhere along the line, I became very passionate about mental health because I've had quite a tumultuous journey with my own mental health. And after
Hmm.
a lot of healing, um, I was like, I just want to share what I've learned more with people, just because so many people struggle with all of these little things that I've talked about in therapy,
Hmm.
but not everybody has a therapist. Not everybody gets to learn all these things. So I started sharing more mental health tips in addition to
Hmm.
my whole journey. And it kind of all started to fuse because a lot of musicians were also struggling with their mental
Right.
health, but they were also struggling with their music careers. So
Mm.
I knew a lot about artist development in the music industry, songwriting, recording, like all of the music stuff. And then I went and I got all of these certifications in emotional intelligence. And I learned how to become a life coach. And I only
Hmm.
started fusing it together in my own coaching practice because people asked me for that. They were like,
Right.
can I just maybe pay you money to talk to you for an hour about
Nice.
what I want to do, and like maybe you can share some things that will work for me. So I had like three different people all around the same time ask me that, and I was like, I think I've started my own coaching.
I love it. Welcome to your new office. You thought you
Yeah,
were visiting the building. It's yours.
yeah, and then a whole world opened up from that because
Yeah.
I never knew about the coaching business or industry, which I think is really good. I think,
Hmm.
it's good to not understand the rules sometimes because you can make
Hmm.
your own and do it in a way that's completely authentic to you. I feel the same way with music. It helps
Yeah.
to understand uh, music theory to an extent, but if you theorize it too much, then um, you might miss out on making a decision that quote unquote doesn't make sense. You know,
Hmm.
so you have
Hmm.
a little bit of the rules to get yourself going, and
Yeah.
then not enough to be able to think so super outside the box.
Yeah. The balance, right? You speak to, again, I'm not surprised, something that I'm really passionate about because I'm one of those where I sort of also tripped into quite a few things that I do. And then
Yeah.
as I've learned, including songwriting, like when I listen to my first songs, I'm like, I love how innocent and like adventurous they were in terms of just their DNA. And then it kind of seeps into the system where you kind of, the hooks, the tricks. And so I feel like that balance is so important. Like you do need to keep enough wild and enough growth with the development in terms of, even our world today, right? We can't have everything pavement. We've got to have forests
Yeah.
that are also there. So,
Well, the path of being a coach is very similar to the path of being an artist, which is you can get inspiration from how other people do things.
mm,
Uh, might be some basic set of ground rules, but at the end of the day, your path is not going to look anything like somebody else's path.
yeah, exactly. Yes.
So you have to have a really strong relationship with your intuition. And that's why I love being a coach, but being a coach for creative people, because at the end of the
Hmm.
day, the heart of what I'm doing is helping people connect to their intuition.
Yep.
It's
I
like
love that.
teaching. I'm not like, here's music industry 101. I'm just like, well, here's something
Hmm.
to consider now. you know where do you want to go? Who are
Yeah.
you? What's your purpose? What are your values? How can we get there in a way that is completely and authentically yours?
Yeah. And, that's another thing I know we connected on is like, as the sole mechanic, my coaching, I started off as a consultant actually. So I was like helping artists, creatives, healers, shamanic healers, yoga practitioners to understand how to shop authentically, right? It was
Yeah.
like, who am I really? Like, because a lot of these people, it's hard, right? If you sell shoes, you sell shoes. But like, if you're an artist or a creator, and you're like, how do I describe what I do? So I help
Yeah.
them find their authentic signature. And why I mention that is because I feel like we are kind of the early adopters, or I think, should I say, trendsetters in the sense that where I believe the world is going there, even with AI and all these things, I feel like, yes, there's a lot of disruption coming and a lot of unknowns, but it just feels like because of machines becoming so good at what they do, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are finding more time on their hands. A lot of people are kind of quote unquote quote author like you tripping into their passions or things they didn't know they were going to do, and they're going to find themselves doing that for a living. So
Yeah.
I think we're being forced as a species to actually stop and look inward and say, who am I and what's really going on and what wants to be birthed in there. So I feel like what
Yeah.
we're doing is going to be in another 20 years something where people go, oh, there was a time people didn't know that, dude.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's very exciting. So my next question with regards to this coaching journey of yours, right, is I know you kind of maybe alluded to it, but like what specifically would you say keeps you or lights you up about the coaching work specifically?
Yeah. It's so fulfilling. And I'll say more about that, but I just there I because I do so many things. I don't just do coaching. I do a lot of like music stuff,
Hmm.
community
Hmm.
stuff, and my work week is never the same. And I notice on weeks where the coaching work is light, I feel less fulfilled.
Right.
So what that really brings me is, oh my gosh, the amazing reward of there's so many layers to it. On a
Hmm.
simple helping someone feel better, helping someone feel less alone. You can do
Hmm.
that as a friend even, and that's fulfilling enough. But to be able to go deep in it with them with this understanding of like, oh, the background in emotional intelligence, I understand how emotions work or how the brain is processing
Hmm.
and how you might be um, experiencing them right now.
Yeah.
And to be able to play that special role of empathizing with somebody who, in a world where we don't really, the average person isn't taught empathy. We don't know empathy as like this uh, second nature feeling. We find emotions deeply uncomfortable. We often
Hmm.
them. So to be able
Hmm.
to sit with someone and listen to how they're feeling and the way that they see the world and be able to make them feel like that's okay,
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
to in the deepest sense, like, bring out their most authentic self
Mm-hmm.
that is so inhibited and afraid because of whatever experiences they have had or limitations they've been giving, beliefs they've been handed, and to be able to give them a space where that version of themselves that wants to come out in everybody so bad,
Mm-hmm.
to be able
Mm-hmm.
to a space to live and exist and give it power and show them that whatever reality you want to live in, that can't exist. Let them know what's
Mm-hmm.
possible. That is probably what lights me up about the work.
Amazing. And why wouldn't it? That sounds so magical. And, well done to you. I think that, again, talking about just the human existence, like so many people, I believe that's what they're yearning for. They just have different ways to find that fulfillment and to give that
Yeah,
unique gift to their communities. So I think it's great for people to be hearing that who are listening in because it's such a big topic that I talk about a lot. Like as human beings right now, all of us have gifts and a lot of us are not aware of them. So working with people like yourself and like me starts to unlock that and sort of crack open, right? The
yeah,
cavern and I'm so excited about where we're at and where we're going. And I choose, and focus on the good stuff because I feel like
yeah,
we live in a world of duality, right? It'll always be like that. Whatever's on one side of the seesaw will always be on the other side of the seesaw. And where there's dark, there has to be light. And that's why there's shadow. And so I feel everyone's playing a role and we're getting somewhere that'll be eventually like this holistic, beautiful sort of sense
yeah.
that we're heading towards.
I
So,
have that vision.
something you wanted to say?
I
Yep.
was just saying I have that vision as well. It's kind of the belief that drives everything that I do is that,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like the purpose statement that I operate on is empowering artists to connect to their authentic expression to
Hmm.
co-create a more harmonious world. I
Hmm.
believe humans, in the same way that the natural world operates, everyone has their role and their job that when it is fulfilled, things work symbiotically, you know,
Yes. Yep.
um, like a beehive, that's
Yes.
every bee doing their thing means the hive,
Hmm.
you know.
Yep.
Um, so to be era where people are starting to reflect on maybe other career paths or work opportunities are possible
Hmm.
for me.
Hmm.
Because when you look at like what you and I are doing, when I was in high school and I was given like a career aptitude test,
Right.
this on there,
Exactly.
so
Totally.
many cool jobs friends, peers, coworkers of mine have,
Hmm.
we're not on those tests,
Yep. Exactly.
because we're making something new. Those jobs
Hmm.
didn't, we didn't, think
Yep.
to, uh, we didn't think that in that way.
Yep. And it is right. It's yeah. Okay, sorry, it was breaking up a bit, so I'm hoping that the signal's going to, behave itself. Were you still saying something about the harmonious? Yeah, I think it is a bit iffy, but I think we're good now.
What were you going
Cool.
to say?
So I was going to say that, yeah, I just think it's an amazing topic you're bringing up about the opportunities because the AI is coming in, and because of that, the experts have said that they're like, hey, because of that, there are jobs that don't exist now that will exist in 6 months. So it's about to do the same thing again, where we'll be like, whoa, there's a job called what? And there's,
Yeah,
teaching people AI, whatever it is. And like even one of them, I love Gary Vee. He's like, you have to understand, there are going to be people who can literally advertise in their local and say, I walk people. Like people are lonely out there and I like walking. So if you want to walk in the neighborhood of whatever it is, and $50 an hour, and there'll be a lot of people saying, yes, be company for me. Like jobs that again people would have never realized, but it's like, hang on, I like walking, I like talking with people, I can get paid to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. There's a certain element of like people say like delusion, right? That's
Mhm.
required to be an entrepreneur or think outside the box career wise. It doesn't even have to be entrepreneurship, but to consider
Yeah.
like what are your skills or like, you know, the concept, very popular concept that I love of like
Mhm.
ikigai, right? Where
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, okay, what are you good at? What problem needs to be solved?
Mhm.
What do you love doing? What do you care about? At the center of those things is some unique
Yes.
role that maybe only you can find out what that is by going for it, you know,
Yeah.
by diving in and getting messy and trying new things. And then, oh, here's a new career that has never existed before.
Yep. And having the confidence to do that, and with
Yeah.
coaches like yourself and myself to give them the confidence to go, no, keep going in that direction. This could be something cool. And no one
Yeah.
else is doing it. That's okay. Go for it, you know?
Right. Yeah. The not needing, and this is goes back to the theme of intuition and strengthening your intuition. Intuition
Yeah.
doesn't need this external proof to say this is good, this is right, but honing your intuition to a place where it's like this feels good, this feels
Mm,
right, I
yeah.
feel like what I'm meant to be doing. And people know it when they feel it. Even, you
Mhm.
know, clients of mine that in the beginning of working together are disconnected from this intuition, but then we do the work and several months later they're like, I feel like I should do this, but it goes against
Mhm.
that I thought I should do, but for some reason I don't care about that anymore.
Nice. There we
And they
go.
feel
Graduation.
so yeah.
I love that. So, talking about that, people that you work with, tell us, give us an example or an idea. Like, who are the people that you really, really love to work with the most? Like, who would you say, like, oh my gosh, this is the dream client? I know there's a variety, but like, so that anyone who's listening could almost like hear, oh, that's me. Like, what would they look like?
It would be a creative person, but
Mhm.
what's it called? Not exception. The just note, disclaimer, whatever
Right?
about
Uh-huh.
they might struggle to call themselves creative. So
Right.
have creative energy, they do creative things, they might be insecure about admitting or identifying
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
role creative, but I know that they are. um,
Okay.
that's number one, is that they're meant to do something creative with their
Yeah.
lives. Um, the second thing is that they know that there is some other way to find success that isn't what they have been told by any sort of
Hmm.
marketing guru, music industry guru, like uh, traditional forms of success that or hustle culture that say, oh, if you want to be successful, you have to do XYZ, that like puts you in a box. People that
Hmm.
down, they're like, that doesn't feel right. Like
Right.
I feel like there isn't there something else, and um, they want to be validated that their feeling, those feelings of being put in a box, feeling bad, are correct and valid. That you
Hmm.
put
Hmm.
in a box is not supposed to feel very good. That's the
Right.
second. So they want to do things a different way. They're open minded to what that is. Um, the third thing would be a. I like working with people that are a little bit more on like the woo woo side. I'm not saying everybody needs to be
Hmm.
an astrologer, but one of my favorite like clients to have worked with was a psychic medium, and I loved the
Right.
way that they thought. I love the way that
Hmm.
the world and helping ground someone in the healing arts, in
Hmm.
the practical stuff was so fun for me, you know.
Nice.
The organization and the structure and the okay, let's make a website.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
yeah. And then but in general, people that are down to have me give them tarot readings or talk about their astrology. I don't use
Hmm.
everybody because everybody does not speak that language, but I will
Right.
say I do love being able to speak that language with people more.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about that. Like, how many cards do you have? And like, what kind of decks? Like, what does that look like for you?
I have 3 decks, but
Hmm.
one is new and I'm not super passionate about it yet. But I have a deck of tarot cards and I
Hmm.
have a deck of animal cards. My friend came up with this animal card deck.
Cool.
Uh,
Okay.
and those are my 2 like babies. Like if you look at the cards, you can just see that they're weathered and like have been used.
Yeah.
And I feel a really deep connection to them. And when someone is, I like using the tarot cards for when someone doesn't know what's what. They don't know left from
Hmm.
right. They're like, what is going on in my life? It's like so much is going on, but I don't know what to do about it. I love using tarot cards to bring some
Okay.
clarity and like reflection, to help ground them. And then the animal cards are really fun as kind of like a companion. Like,
Hmm.
okay, you're going through this thing in your life. Let's pick an animal from this deck, and they're there with you. They're riding this out with you,
Nice.
and they have a unique skill set, a unique medicine, a unique energy that's going to be really helpful for you during this time of life. Let's see
Hmm.
who that is. So I like using the animal cards for a sense of support, and then the tarot cards
Hmm.
for tools for clarity and reflection.
Beautiful. Okay. That's really cool because I've got, I guess, three decks as well, and two of them are dragons. I'm all about the dragon energy. I really
Ooh,
like resonate with the dragon. I'm like, let's go. And the third one is actually a 200 card deck.
wow,
Yep.
that's
But it's
a lot.
interesting though. It would fit in your world though because it's a teal swan deck.
Okay.
So she made this deck, and basically it's like a compass deck. So it has core values and stuff. So you kind of have this like almost like it's like AOB, and you're like, oh, honesty versus drive, or passion versus, and so you kind of slowly whittling your way through and really find your core values and what you really, because some people, like you're saying, they may not know that I don't know what I'm about or what's important to me, but those cards are designed that way to kind of just bring them out and kind of go, oh, AOB, and then you kind of keep going down this rabbit hole. So I thought it was a really interesting approach. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the cards are, it's just fun to have a tool in addition to conversation. I think people need to step out of their own perspective and like
Hmm.
narrative sometimes. And, me as a coach, I'm just here to reflect what you're telling.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
cards are kind of third voice
Doing the same. Exactly.
in
Yes.
the
That's so
conversation.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now the tools are amazing. I love the different tools. I love using human design as well. So
Mm,
talking about the coaching aspect and then your clients, do you have any particular special programs that you offer that people would know about and go, oh, this is kind of what I do? Or do people just come and then, they work with you any which way? Like, how does that look?
yeah. So I have, you know, all the like rolling admissions to just my one-on-one coaching
Hmm.
and group coaching. I have 2 group coaching cohorts right now. So um, if there are openings there, people can come and join. Um,
Hmm.
and group sessions are fun because of the relationships that are made within the group. It's so supportive to have people on this shared path of like, you really care about your goals and dreams, but maybe you're struggling
Hmm.
with something that I'm struggling with too,
Right.
or you're
Yeah. Hmm.
something totally different from me. But for some reason, when I hear you talk about it, I feel like I get something out of it too. So those are kind of the general groups that are always open. And then I do
Hmm.
this program um, once or twice a year called the Artist 360 program.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it is a 6-week program that I'm honestly debating on extending it to be like more of a 6-month experience because it's
Okay.
really, really impactful.
Hmm.
And it encompasses my holistic approach to coaching within 6 weeks. So there
Nice.
are 6 aspects to my coach approach, and we go
Right.
through one every single week.
Right.
And that's
Wow,
why
that sounds rich.
it's really intense. So it's for creatively minded people that
Hmm.
are feeling maybe stuck in their life right now. They know that there's this other dream, these other goals that they want, and they just keep spinning their wheels or not actually making any progress.
Hmm.
Whether that's because of a lack of practical skills like time management, knowing exactly what you want and what you're good at, and then the values and the beliefs and having a support system, all of that aspect of it too.
Hmm.
6 program that I do that I just finished. So I'll probably start another one um, sometime in 2026.
Cool. So tell me about the sizes. Like, well, how many people do you tend to have in like, in the group coaching and then like in like the 6 week programs?
Yeah, I like to keep it no more than 10. I like to keep them
Hmm.
very intimate because I want to give
Hmm.
everybody space to work through their things on the call. My approach and my even when I host my events, my community events,
Hmm.
I like having a more intimate space so that people feel comfortable enough to speak and they feel involved in the process.
Hmm.
So there have been other programs, courses, or events that I have been on where it's like no one's even on their camera, like no one's
Hmm.
getting to know each other. They're just being like,
Right. Yeah. 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 Hmm.
I don't want to talk at you. I will talk at you for like a little bit to introduce some concept, but then it's working together. It's
Yeah.
conversation.
Hmm.
You have something to say and you have something to say. So it's very almost collaborative. Um
Hmm.
because the space is small enough to build really deep, meaningful connections. And I would much rather to be able to go deep with a smaller group of people than like cram as many people into my
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. It's a depth thing again. It's like that thing of like narrow but deep rather than wide and, sorry, like, you know what I mean? Like the width, but like with depth rather than like wide and then not being able to get too deep because of that. And it's interesting because with the coaching aspect and the group. And that's why I asked because I know people will think they're like, ooh, I'm going to be in a space with people I don't know, and how many people will be there, and all of that stuff. I think it's important to mention that. Like, that's why we curate these spaces. It's like there's a magic that happens when you get like a group of nervous systems in the same room, as I like to say, co-regulation, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so some people do take time to warm up, but after a while, you're so glad that you hung out with these new people who are usually because of you are on a similar sort of wavelength, like you attract a certain kind of person. So you are already some kind of filtering system, and you are already creating a safe container for a particular type of person, as you just described. So being around people who kind of think like you or are similar to you is, I think, a valuable thing to mention because some people feel pretty isolated and maybe think something's wrong with them or they're the weirdo. Because kind of what you described, like you're describing the outliers. You're describing the people who are maybe second guessing themselves. You're describing people who are definitely being told, "What are you talking about?" So when
Yeah.
you find yourself in a room with like-minded people, that alone is part of the medicine. So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of so I run community events every month. I do it at least two every single month. And the types of people that come to those calls, the types of conversations that happen on those calls, and this isn't even coaching. This is like
Mhm.
a community meetup, no vulnerability required. Like that's
Mhm.
not what it's about because
Mhm.
the nature of it isn't necessarily like growth or healing. It's community and
Yeah.
meeting other people. You can go as deep as you want with that. But
Yeah.
the connections that happen when you bring in a group of people who you're saying, this is a space to support each other. This is
Mhm.
this is not every man for himself kind of
Yeah.
vibe. you don't pass through those doors unless you care about other people. And then
Mm-hmm.
you enter a space like that and you start to see the way that certain people speak, and you're like, whoa, I've never been in a room where I could speak like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so many people have shared on these community calls before, like, I felt like I was the black sheep, or I felt like
Mm-hmm.
something was wrong with me, or people have literally told me that like something is wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Mm-hmm.
group, and I realized that other people think and feel like me too. And I think at the heart of it is being an artist. Like, I think that's what
Yeah.
brings everybody together, is being connected to your true artistry and sense of creativity is what makes someone feel like the odd man out, because those types of
Mm-hmm.
people feel very deeply,
Mm-hmm.
feel in what other people might label as like in a logical way, or at an
Mm-hmm.
illogical intense
Yep.
level, and they're inclined and inspired to do things that just organically come to them. They're not just doing what they're told or showing up in a way that is
Mm-hmm.
what, it's something unique about it, because it's being an artist, being a creative person means that you are connected to your intuition. At least that's the way that I see it, is like, what is creativity?
Yep.
Where does creativity come from? It's some
Mm-hmm.
intuitive sense. It's a something deep within you that is being expressed, and your
Mm-hmm.
body is this like vehicle for that
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah. Mm.
Those are the types of people that are usually isolated in a traditional society.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's beautiful. And I did come to one of your events and I hung out and we listened to music and everyone was sharing and there were artists there. And I remember we had some beautiful, even like a live performance, which was such a treat. And like, I really, even like as we speak now, I've got someone I need to introduce you to because I think that Aurelie would love to come and join in. She's doing something similar. She's coaching creatives, and I think just for herself, she would love to meet up with you and connect. And so we'll definitely make that happen. And so moving to the next question about our beautiful coaching conversation, when you're looking at people out there.
Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Uh-oh.
And we're back.
Okay, we good?
Okay. And can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay? It's a little bit choppy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely disconnected, that's for sure.
Is this are we coming back to it? Are we Your video looks good now.
Yeah, yeah. We're still live, but it looks like it's still struggling to connect. What about now? Can you hear me? Okay, so it looks like we've lost a bit of a connection, which is a pity. Oh, I can hear you. I heard something.
I can see you, but I can't see me. Oh, I can see
Now
me
you're
now.
back. Yeah.
Whew,
So
this
I can tell
tech-
you, I can tell you right now, this is one of the joys of living on an island because it's been okay, but the last few days the internet's been struggling, and that's literally what happened. So the Wi-Fi is gone, my data. So that's what's gone wrong.
oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Well, at least we made
But
the
it's all
switch
good. Like
and we're stable now.
yeah, so I think we're good now, so we can continue because we're kind of ending off anyway. But yeah, I was just talking to you about like what you would like to share to with people when it comes to the aspect of coaching and anything that you'd like to add to that conversation. Thinking about coaching or why you would sort of recommend coaching to anybody.
Yeah. Well, I think this is gonna sound so cheesy. This is like the most like uh silly little thing to say, but I'm gonna say it. It's true.
Yep.
I think
Bring it.
ev-
Bring it.
I think everybody needs a buddy, and
Nice.
that can be in whatever form works for you. You know, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's both. That's another thing I will say, though, they're not mutually exclusive. I have many clients that have therapists.
Hmm.
I have many clients that I recommend that they also have therapists in addition to working for me.
Yep.
Um, I
Yep.
think everyone ultimately needs like a whole holistic care team if it was possible. Like I think
Yes.
to be taken care of in every possible way. You know, it shouldn't just be like, oh, I have
Yes.
my primary care physician and a dentist, and that's my health.
Hmm.
You know, good to go.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it's no, we need therapists for our emotional well-being. We need coaches to help us step into our purpose. We
Hmm.
need, you know, trainers and nutritionists, and there's so many different kinds of like specialists that
Yes.
I
Yeah.
wish everybody could have. I wish that that was the way that the world was set up, because that's the holistic approach is you are being taken care of
Yes.
in every aspect of your life, and when you're taken care of in every aspect
Hmm.
of life, you are able to live out your dream and your purpose because you're so supported. Um, and your
Yes.
is not leaking in any particular area. You're good all around.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hannah Bowers. Like, yes. That's it. I love that answer because what you've said brings me back to my coaching journey where I felt almost like a fraud or like almost like it was ridiculous, right? And the reason is I come from an African background, right? And we have this about the tribe, the original way of working. And so part of me was like, why am I being paid to do this?
Yeah.
Like in community, you have grandma who can teach you about the medicine of the plant. You're struggling with your relationship and you've got a certain uncle or your mom, like it was just like you said, the community had your back in their different ways because they all had their skills, like the thing we talked about, right? Everyone's in their unique signature and their unique role in the community. And
Yep.
so, like you said, like that's how it should be. So I'm like, yeah, it should be, and it should be just what people do. So now, of course, we live in a world where there's money and there's currency, so it does make sense. Back in the day, it was about the people getting bread from the baker or whatever it is. Was now it's like okay, money can be the same way to go. I get paid to help with what I do. You get paid to help with what you do, and then we all take care of each other. So I
Yep.
think that's absolutely wonderful. And with that topic, is there something that you would recommend or advise someone who, when they're talking about coaching, are there any myths that you would like to bust that maybe you think people think about coaching that maybe isn't necessarily true or accurate?
I feel like a lot of people honestly just don't know what it is, so they think they don't need it.
Mm.
But
Nice. Yes,
uh,
good one.
yeah, imagine if you had someone to share all of your goals and dreams with, to hype
Mhm.
you up about them, to give you a actionable plan to put into action, to go to,
Mhm.
you're like, I need clarity or help or insight or support or reflection. Like everyone, like I said, everybody needs a buddy in some way.
Yeah.
And a coach is
Mhm.
that, what you called like Swiss Army knife of growth in
Mhm.
this world. You want to grow
Mhm.
life, there is a coach for that. And like what you're doing with the coach is
Nice.
like there's so many different types of people depending on what you need to grow in, or how you would like to grow, or who you'd like to grow with. But I guess the
Mhm.
myth that I'm breaking in what I'm saying is that like everyone can benefit from having a coach in the same way that everyone can
Yeah.
benefit from having a therapist, as long as it's a good coach or a good therapist. Because they're
Absolutely.
not all built equally. Um, I
Yeah.
guess with
And that's my next question,
okay, go for it.
actually, because my next question is like, what is your advice when someone's like, I'm going to go and find a coach? Like, how would you advise them to find someone who's going to be a good match or whatever it may be? Like when they're saying, "Hey, let's go for it." Like, what would you advise someone?
Yeah, I think it's about clarifying what area of your life you want support in, and know that there is a coach for that. And then the second thing is using your
Mhm.
community as a tool to find who that is. You can definitely use social media. You can be like, okay, I want support in my holistic medicine business, and look up like holistic business coach or something like that on Instagram and reach out to a stranger. That's
Yeah.
totally a valid way to do it. But I think it's definitely more impactful and more meaningful when you have conversations with other people in your community who maybe you know somebody else that has
Mhm.
some sort of holistic business, and you're like, hey, do you have anybody that you'd recommend? Or have you worked with anybody that
Mhm.
you would recommend? Because there's a level
Mhm.
of trust there, and this built in like, well, if you vibe with them and I vibe with you, I'll vibe with that person as well, because there's an overwhelming
Mhm.
amount of
Yeah.
options out there, and that who you know can kind of filter it to being the best person for you.
Yeah. Totally, I love that, and again, my brain just goes to that whole community vibe. Like it's like when we're in community, like people know people, so you're kind of already in your beehive, you know. And like it's the same with dating. Like as a relationship coach, it's like back in the day, like online dating and going to a bar and speaking to a stranger is so new in the history of humanity because before everyone knew everybody, so you would end up dating and having kids with someone you grew up with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
super interesting to be able to lean into that community aspect as well and speak to the people around you, which I think is great. And then another thing I would say is like for people who work with good coaches and get the results, which you see happening anyway, like tell people about like I worked with someone who recommends this person and that person, which is what I naturally do anyway. So
yeah,
I think that's absolutely cool. That takes us to the end of our talk today. Thank you for being super champ and patient with the technology. The retrograding has been retrograding. And my last question for you, Hannah, is with regards to everything you've shared and what you're doing, where is the best place that people can reach out if they say, hey, maybe I want to hang out and follow and join your world, or maybe even like have a conversation about working with you? Like, how's the best sort of touch point?
yeah. I like Instagram as a hub for communication, and that's where I talk a lot about what I do. If you want to send me an Instagram message, my username is at the Hannah Bowers. But I also love sharing. I'm going to be sharing more work on a Substack, and I also love sharing and posting my work on Threads. And my username on all of those platforms is at the Hannah Bowers. And if you're not on social media, which I applaud you for, then you can just go to my website, which is hannahbowers.com.
Sweet. And of course, all of those links, we'll put them in the notes below my first YouTube live.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so
yeah,
much for having me.
thank you for joining me.
Yeah. It's an honor to be your very first YouTube live, Ryan. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to us hanging out and getting to know each other more and doing all sorts of cool stuff together. And to everybody who's watching, and thanks for hanging out with us because I know the technology has been a bit weird. And even like now, I know it's a bit glitchy and we've probably lost a few words, but I know your brain will join get the gaps. And otherwise, go and hang out with Hannah on her platform so you can hear her in full, crystal clear sort of quality. So enjoy the rest of your day up there in Cali. And yeah, thanks again, and we will chat soon.
Thanks, man. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye bye.
Bye.